Today, we need to talk about a story that's just incredibly difficult to tell, but it's one that absolutely must be heard. We're going to go through the tragic case of 9-year-old Zemar King, a boy whose life ended way too soon, and the chain of failures that happened long before that. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. The details here are really tough. They're disturbing. We're sharing this not for shock value, but because it's crucial to understand what went so terribly wrong. So please, just take care of yourself while you're watching. And this is really the question at the very heart of Zemar's story. It's a haunting question, right? It's about who's supposed to be listening and the absolutely devastating price of just not acting. So our story starts in Detroit, Michigan. This is where 9-year-old Zemar King lived, and it's where a system that was supposed to protect him was tested time and time again. You know, to really understand what happened to Zemar, we have to go back. This wasn't some sudden, out-of-the-blue tragedy. No, this was the last awful chapter in a long, long story of neglect. A story filled with warning signs that popped up over and over for almost his entire life. I mean, just look at this timeline. It really puts everything into a chilling perspective. The system, Child Protective Services, or CPS, they were on notice back in 2015, before Zemar was even born. Then in 2019, he's just 4 years old and he's found wandering all by himself. But that complaint declined. 2 years after that, he's 5, left in a hot car, and that case gets closed too. Every single one of these moments was a missed chance, another red flag in a clear escalating pattern of risk that brings us all the way to April of 2024. And this is the moment that's the most critical part of this entire story. This is when Zemar himself, using his own voice, tried to save his own life. Okay, I want you to try and picture this scene. The family's at a hospital, his mom is there saying she feels anxious and depressed. And a CPS worker is there too. And for what seems like the first time, that worker gets a chance to talk to Zemar, one-on-one. So what does this little boy say? He tells the worker he hadn't even been to school in over a year. He says his mother beat him with a belt and that she choked him. And then he said the words that should have stopped everything. He said that she wanted to kill him. A direct, terrifying plea from a 9-year-old. So, how did the system respond to that? To a child's desperate plea for his life? The disconnect between the alarm Zemar sounded and what they actually did is it's staggering. The case was closed. The reason? Insufficient evidence. They were given some pamphlets, a referral for counseling, and Zemar, he was sent right back home. What came next, after that decision, is just horrific to even talk about. Only 6 months after Zemar begged someone to save him, the story takes its darkest possible turn. Prosecutors allege that on October 24th, his mother, Brandy Pierce, went out and bought a shovel. Investigators believe she then bound her son's hands and feet, smothered him until he died, and then buried his little body in a shallow grave right behind their home. Just 2 weeks after the alleged murder, Pierce was gone. She fled the state, taking her younger 3-year-old son with her down to Georgia. And Zemar's body, it just laid there, undiscovered, until January 6th of the next year. That's when the landlord, who was getting the house ready for new tenants, found him in the frozen backyard. With that horrible discovery, the case immediately shifted. This wasn't a missing persons case anymore, it was a homicide, and the long, slow path to justice finally began. Pierce was arrested in Georgia, brought back to Michigan, and the charges against her, well, they speak for themselves. First-degree murder, felony murder, first-degree child abuse. I mean, they're as serious as it gets. Right now, here's where the case stands. Brandy Pierce has pleaded not guilty, the judge denied her bond, so she'll remain in custody, and the court is currently evaluating if she's competent to stand trial, which is a pretty standard procedure in a case this severe. So, as the legal system moves forward against one person, for a lot of people, the focus is shifting right back to that bigger question, to the system that was supposed to protect a child like Zemar in the first place. Let's let that sink in for a second. This is the one fact that you just can't get around. It's the stark, brutal line connecting the inaction to the final outcome. 6 months. That was the window. That was the time they had to step in after a child literally told them his life was in danger. And that leaves us right back here with this enormous unanswered question. It's not about blaming one single caseworker or one office. It's bigger than that. It's about society's promise to protect the most vulnerable among us. When a child is brave enough to speak their absolute worst fear out loud, who, in the end, is responsible for actually hearing them and for doing something? The details are just heartbreaking, but Zemar's story is such a powerful, tragic reminder of the incredible weight a child's words should have and the devastating cost when those words are just filed away. We believe stories like this, as hard as they are to hear, need to be told. If you agree and you want to help raise awareness, please consider liking this video and sharing your thoughts down in the comments. And if you subscribe, you'll stay informed on more stories that really matter. Thank you for watching.